This is version 86. I'm your host, MUGUME CANARY. Version 86 is a show where I get to televise the lives of young people born after 1986. What are their lives up to, the challenges they're facing, their achievements, and their success stories. With me today on the show, I have the 25-year-old Mildred Apenyo. I hope that is the correct pronunciation of the name.
Absolutely.
Mildred Apenyo is entrepreneur, she's a writer, and she's a women activist, right?
Indeed.
All right. Why did you decide to be a women activist?
Why did I decide to be an activist? I don't think that was a decision really, because say you're born female, you're born into a world that in many different ways, from when you're very young, from when you say maybe 10, seeks to reduce you in particular ways. So it seeks to reduce you regarding, say, your self-esteem, the way you look, regarding, say, your skin color. You grow up a little more regarding your skills even in class. So many times in class it was inferred that women were better at the arts, English, history, men were better, the guys were better at, say, chemistry, biology, physics, and all that.
And the women were better at handwriting.
Such things. So the biases that we grow up with, we grow up absorbing, all inform the qualities of the lives that we live eventually. So growing up, constantly my mind was saying, why? But how come? But why? So how come I cannot play with tires? I can't roll tires in P1. How come I can't do that? How come I can't climb trees, say? Or how come it's just assumed that I'm going to be bad at mathematics? I was horrible at mathematics, but I'm sure it was because one effort wasn't made to help me love this subject, right? So this was the kind of effort that I was seeing being made in class with the guys, because they were excelling due to being pushed and encouraged, while the rest of us were excelling in, say, English or whatever, because we were pushed and encouraged to even feel and believe that we were good at particular things. So we live in a world that has segmented particular things and said, this is for women, these are for men. Okay. And some of these things are like good wages, these are for men, because you'll find in many offices, even around Kampala, the women are earning significantly less than the men. Yeah. And you find things like sport, for example, say kickboxing is combat sports are for men. And combat sports are great, they're so much fun, they're so athletic, they're amazing, have all of these health benefits, all of these self-esteem benefits. And you find that people segment these things for men, weightlifting for men, this and that for men. And
so in my mind, you thought that what man can do, even woman can do.
Well, in my mind, I didn't even use say a maxim or an analogy like that, no. I just say no, not what man can do, woman can do, no. Because there are also things that women enjoy, privileges that we enjoy, things we enjoy, that men would like to enjoy as well. Men would like to be beautiful, right? They'd like to be lovely without being considered, I don't know, other or off or whatever. Because usually when you find a man who takes care of himself with like a pedicure or manicure or whatever, he's looked at like, what's wrong with this one now? Like there are certain things that men also would like to enjoy that are considered for women. And I just say enough of that, right? So even my activism, before I knew what I was being, already I feel I was an activist. There were certain things I wasn't allowing to limit me. There were certain things I was constantly questioning, and this started from when I was really young. And I guess I can attribute that to my upbringing, my insane family and all of that.
All right. So now that you're at this age, where have you taken activism? Where have you taken your activism? What have you done with your activism?
I think the question should be, what has activism done with me? Because what happened is, with FitClick, the way FitClick began, even the idea of this company, it came out of an insane feeling I was having, an insane rage, and I was so unhappy with the way, say, our leaders, even our laws were treating women. Okay. So there was that anti-pornography law, the first draft that came out, yes, right? And it was insane. It had
the same law that was against the miniskirts?
Okay. Now, its first draft, it specifically mentioned women's thighs, women's chests, women's, it created a kind of world, or it gave the kind of picture that terrified me because I immediately looked at this thing, I read it through, and I said, this thing is going to cause insane mob justice against women. It's going to limit women in all kinds of ways, and it immediately began happening because women began being undressed. There were so many stories of women dressed in, okay, I'm going to say non-provocative ways, right? Saying baggy jeans and a shirt. And so many of these people were, like, men in the park would just like grab them and be like, this one is delicious, and he grabs her and he's touching her. Yeah. Because he feels that kind of power that the law has sanctioned his abuse, of women that he wanted to do before. But now that he feels the law is backing him up, he's bolder and he's crazier about it. So that was insane. That was one of the driving forces behind Fit Click, because then at that time I was just saying, look, women have to learn how to defend themselves, they have to learn how to be stronger, nobody has our backs. Our men are hearing about us being undressed. What are they doing? I don't know, playing PlayStation or going about their days normally, and yet women are being undressed. This can happen to any woman. Yeah. So
and a few days later you were seen on Kampala streets with other women holding posters protesting against that act.
Absolutely. I mean,
what gave you that boldness to do that?
What gave me that boldness?
Yes.
Looking around
because
and seeing
people were against it, especially men, they were against it. Even some women, they were supporting it. They were saying, the Bible says, a woman's body, everyone's body is the temple of God, so you don't have to maybe show your thighs, your boobs, or anything. You were still at the Kampala streets with posters protesting against the act.
Yeah,
how was that impactful on the act itself and the people who are doing it?
It was absolutely impactful, because what happened is that about 2 days after our march, after our protest at National Theatre, this law was recalled. It was recalled for review. So now police became really serious about rounding people up. Eventually, some of our leaders began talking about how bad it was that women had been undressed and like that kind of thing. I truly believe that seeing how much international attention that particular protest got is what got our leaders, is what sparked them into action.
So you stood up for all the women and saved them all the trouble and the shame?
No, I mean, I wouldn't say I saved them all. Like, women are, personally, no. When I was in a group of people, okay, so I'm not even the one who organized it. It was somebody else called Patience Akumu and a whole other group of people. So I was just one of the people there. But I truly believe that standing up and saying, we are not going to stand for this, okay? This is not okay. Standing up as a group, as a collection, a collective, as a group of women, it had an impact on the ways that the police, the ways that our leaders reacted afterwards. Yeah. And now you don't hear that there's an epidemic of women being undressed on the streets. That has, I mean, there's still street molestation, but it's not as rampant as it was during those 2 weeks.
All right, let's get to the entrepreneurship side of it. You yourself and other posts about you describe you as an accidental entrepreneur. You're the CEO of the first gym in Uganda for the ladies, only for the women.
Indeed.
That is Fit Click 256.
We are Fit Click Africa.
Fit
Click
Africa.
Shirt that I was working on.
Okay, Fit Click Africa.
Yeah.
What gave you the courage to start a gym for only the women?
Okay, so one, I was responding to a lack in the market. So right around that time of the law, the anti-pornography law, I had broken my leg maybe 2-3 months before, and before then I'd been a runner, and so I love activity, I love moving my body, I love to run, I love to dance, all those things. But then when I broke my leg, I realized that I'm going to have to find another fitness option, because I cannot sit in office all day and then just go home. So I checked out gyms. I went from gym to gym, I tried different classes, but in every gym that I entered, when I'd gone near the weightlifting area, I'd be kind of, people would be like, what are you doing here? What do you want here? Guys would tell me, stop lifting weights, I won't find you sexy anymore, which one are you trying to beat? Things like that. And I was like, look, no one comes to the gym for conversation, you come to the gym to work, right? Guys will be hitting on you, you're trying to lift something heavier than you've ever lifted before. This guy is trying to put on you. It was just really irritating to me, and I was like, no, there needs to be a space where women can come together, have this kind of create sisterhood, sisterships, friendships among women. Create the situations where women are working out together, supporting each other. Create situations where women can have all classes from kickboxing, strength training, which is weightlifting, self-defense, yoga, dance, aerobics, all the things that women love, only they're doing it in a space that's dedicated to them.
Okay.
Right? So that was my idea for Fit Click. And at that time when I was still I was angry about the laws and whatnot, I didn't even know that it was going to turn into a business. I didn't know what it was going to become. I just knew I had a lot of energy and I needed something to change, right? And right now, as Fit Click, we are creating personal-centered curricula. We're creating this curricula for women who work in markets, so market women. Okay. This curricula for university girls, and then for corporate women. And all these curricula look very different. And they're very new, they're very young curricula. So we need to test them. We need to ensure that they actually work. We need to take them out there. We need to have people who are willing to try them out. So our first target group, the first group we're targeting is university girls. All right,
let's talk about the infant months after the birth of Fit Click Africa. Okay. How was it for you? How did you manage to go up to now? It is now 2 or 3 years.
No, we're making 1 year.
You're making 1 year. Let's talk about the infant months.
Yeah.
When you had started, how was it hard for you? What challenges did you face?
Now,
being the only gym for the ladies.
Now, as a business person, I was very new to business.
Okay.
As I said, I was an accidental entrepreneur. I knew nothing about business. So when I saw myself in this situation, beginning a business, beginning a gym, a women's gym, my God, I was intimidated in all kinds of ways. I found myself, for example, some of the things that really disturb young business owners, like managing money, right? I didn't know where my money ended and where Fit Click's money began. I didn't know how to price. Right now, I learn every day. I keep learning every single day, but I didn't know anything about business, which is why I applied to the Mandela Washington Fellowship for Young African Leaders. Because when I applied there, I applied to the business and entrepreneurship section, and all the information I got, for those 4 months that I was in the fellowship, all the information I got, all of the materials I got, the support I got, was in line with helping me learn about running a business. Okay. So that was so helpful to me as well.
Okay. And what has helped you succeed up to 12 months to now making a year, and you now have equipment and have space where to do all this? Tell us about that.
What's helping me succeed?
Yes.
Because
in this generation, businesses of young people fail even before they celebrate their 1-year anniversary. In the infant stages, they fail. What has helped you succeed up to this point?
One, the fact that Fit Click Africa itself has such life force. It has such a life, a magnetism of its own. It's something that say, okay, fine, I put it into the market, but it has its own life, right? And in fact, I'm even orbiting around it. It's not orbiting around me. Okay. So it's on its own, and with what it could potentially grow into, it's already something with a life force of its own. Then secondly, just all of the support I have learned how to seek and ask, like the help I've learned how to ask for. In the beginning, I didn't know how to ask for help. I was ashamed of not knowing things. I felt like I was failing. I felt like people would laugh at me.
You felt like vulnerable?
I was very vulnerable. And I guess I still am. Women always were vulnerable. It's just you have to accept it and realize that people can help you.
I think most
women
feel like they're vulnerable and they're supposed to ask.
I feel like everybody feels weird about asking. It's funny. Because people feel like if they ask a question, they're going to be considered stupid. Yeah. People are going to ask them, so why are you beginning a thing when you don't know these answers? Such things. So I believe that just accepting of the things I don't know, being comfortable with ignorance in particular places, we weren't born knowing the things that we know, we all learn. And knowing that there are people in my corner, that people from the University of Notre Dame are still my friends. I regularly ask for advice, for intellectual help. I know constantly that now I have a group of people, the Ugandan Yali fellows, are all my friends. They're kind of a support system.
Okay.
Yeah, so I know how to ask, and I'm never ashamed about not knowing something.
Okay.
Because the only way you can learn is by asking and being taught.
So to the people there who face the same problem, they feel ashamed of asking. They feel ashamed of seeking help. One word to them. How do you get the courage to seek for help?
Now, how do you get the courage? One, you be as comfortable as possible with the position that you are in now. Okay? Fine, you may not know how to create a business plan, or you may not, in whatever area of life you're in, you may not know how to get into the next stage, the next step. But believe me, every single person you see around you has things they don't know. Right? And they all have things that they would benefit from, even you. There's some things you know that they don't know, some things they know that you don't know. So when you see that somebody has the knowledge that you need, go very humbly and ask them. Your ego will not help you here. Because ego is only good for what? For blowing up your head? But that's not necessary. So just go and ask. There is no shame in asking, no shame in accepting the position where you are.
All right, let's go for a short break. When we return, we have a note for you about Mildred Apenyo, a 25-year-old accidental entrepreneur, and of course, she's earning from it. We shall be back. Don't go away. I'm still with Mildred Apenyo, the CEO of FitClick Africa, the only gym for the ladies in Uganda. Is it the only one?
It's currently the only women's gym.
You're sure there are no other gyms for the ladies?
Nope, not even in East Africa.
Okay. Remember, you can send your views and comments about this show on 6044. Just type version 86, leave a space and send your message. Go and leave your comments on our Facebook page, version 86 project, or tweet us on Twitter at project 86_UG. Mildred, so you have gone all this far. Tell us about the achievements you have gotten since you started FitClick and everything you do.
Alright, some of the good things that have happened in my life since I began FitClick. One, just the fact that I began a business. That's exciting to me, right? That's something that I do not underestimate. Right?
Some people are seated on their laptops at home and they are watching.
I mean, it's a really scary thing to do, to begin a business, and the fact that we are thriving and growing every day, that makes me happy. But some of the achievements, one, we were accepted into the Mandela Washington Fellowship for Young African Leaders.
Oh, tell us about that.
So we had around 80,000 applicants from Africa, and 500 of us were chosen, all in all. So I was one of the 19 from Uganda. Okay. And that
what was the fellowship about?
Well, I was in the business and entrepreneurship section, right? So I went to the University of Notre Dame. This was in Indiana, and I studied there for 2 months. And what they were giving us was all of the knowledge that we possibly need to begin businesses and to help our businesses thrive. Okay. We had people from IBM, people from Coca-Cola, we had people from all sorts of places, from I forget what company this is. Oh, PricewaterhouseCoopers. We had all these guys come together and create a curriculum for us and just take us through everything we need to know as business owners, right? And then I also got to work at the Small Business Administration. This was in BC now. And I worked there for 2 months. This is a government institution that exists to help small businesses. Okay. Yeah, so
you worked there for 2 months.
Yeah, and I worked there for 2 months.
Washington.
Yeah, in BC. Then I came back. I came back at the end of September. Okay. Yeah, and that's when I plugged right back.
Let's go back to that. Most people, when they go, especially to those really beautiful places in the other parts of the world, especially not in Africa, like Washington, who would wish to come back to Africa and be hit by the sun and what? Why did you come back to Africa, to Uganda, and start your own business and proceed with it?
First of all, my business was already there when I left, so I couldn't leave it to there. Then secondly, while I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a social entrepreneur. There is a particular change I want to see in my country.
Okay.
Yeah, so just having opened a gym, okay, that was a good start. Having a following now, having a good clientele base, that's a start. But then, what was I going to do in DC? Why would I stay there? I can't even imagine why I wouldn't want to come back and be hit by my beautiful Ugandan sun.
Because people be there and they make a lot of money, they come back when they're driving Porsche cars.
But the thing is, what kind of livelihood would you be living then? Yes, you're making a lot more money compared to Uganda shillings, but also your standard of living, it's extremely high, so everything is so expensive. So you're spending that money anyway. So I had no desire to stay there forever. I enjoyed the experiences. I would go back to school or whatnot, but I would never elect to leave my country. Okay. Why did I begin with Africa? Because I say, look, there are particular indignities women shouldn't face in Africa, right? In Uganda, in East Africa, in Africa, so no, I would never run away from my country. Okay. Yeah.
You are simply discussing about the challenges.
The achievements. Yes. Some of the achievements that I've experienced. So after that fellowship, we came back. So we were 256, then old shot from them. And we were 256 then. And our vision was about Ugandan women. But when I came back, I said, this personal-centric curriculum we are creating, every single university in Africa, every single workplace, every single woman needs safety and wellness. And we are passionate about the safety and wellness of women. So I said, no, we cannot be fit with 256 anymore. We had a launch right here. It was a beautiful party. So we launched and we shared what our vision is, shared what our new mission is, and we became FitClick Africa officially, as a company. And then, right after that, I became a certified African yoga trainer. Okay. So while I'm a weightlifter, I'm a kickboxer and all these things, I had never, and I enjoyed yoga. I wasn't a trainer then. But Pablo Imani came into town. Pablo Imani is the father of African yoga. He began this discipline. Okay. So when he came and he said, I'd like to teach 50 young people about yoga, I'd like them to become trainers. I said, sure, I'll join. I would like to join that. And I joined, and now I'm making quite a good living of one being a yoga trainer, then two also owning this gym. Because I teach around 4 times a week in different spaces. Here I teach on Saturdays at noon. So generally, I've been so enriched by FitClick, right? Not just pocket-wise, because, I mean, it's a small business, so a lot of the money takes back into itself to grow, right? Not just pocket-wise, but even just intellectually, even spiritually, connections. Right? Connections as well, because at the fellowship, I was there with 500 different people from Sub-Saharan Africa. So imagine all these people with all their beautiful businesses, all their lovely ideas, all that brainstorming we got to do, all that interconnection. It was the first time I truly felt African as opposed to Uganda. I felt really African, seeing all these different young Africans doing great things for their countries. Yeah, so we have also expanded our offerings at FitClick. We don't only, we do have a grand vision, but just even here, even on social media, you find that our posts have a lot to do with not just fitness and say losing weight or whatever, but we want to do it healthily, both in their minds and in their bodies. So there's this mentality that somebody who works out needs to be skinny or you need to look like a particular way. We say no to that. We all have different bodies, different body makeup. Right? We all have different goals. Not all of us want to be skinny. Not all of us want to look a particular way. So just creating an environment where women can choose what they want their bodies to look like. Do they want to be muscle? Let them come and work for it and they'll get their muscle. Do they want to be torn? Do they want to gain weight? Do they want to lose weight? What do they want with their bodies? We give them that liberty. We don't dictate for them what a good body is.
Okay, I've always wanted to ask a question like this. How do you attract this group of especially you have the gym for the ladies, how do you attract the ladies that don't know the importance of things like yoga? Because it is not an African thing. At least it wasn't born here, yoga. So it started maybe, is it an Indian thing?
Now, according to, I practice Kemetic yoga, a discipline of Kemetic yoga called African yoga.
Okay.
Kemetic yoga it's derived from the systems, the belief systems, the movements, the dances, the philosophies of ancient Egypt, before it was called Egypt, when it was so-called Kemet.
Okay.
So I practice Kemetic yoga. Okay. And that's what I'm certified to teach, a discipline called African yoga, which is derived from Kemetic yoga. And what I offer in my classes is something, as it's a growing practice, even in my own practice, I weave in belief systems, I weave in dances, I weave in movements so that I am comfortable with as a Ugandan woman, that I've seen around me, that are my cultural movement. Okay. Alright? So usually when women come to my class, Ugandan women, they're excited. I feel like all my students who come to my class are excited and usually they'll come back. Okay. And I don't know, pay for a longer period of time or whatnot. So that's the kind of thing that I've experienced. It may be a little bit difficult to convince them that they should try it out. Yeah. But when they try it out, they're hooked.
They love it and they keep on coming.
Yeah.
Alright, you're also a writer.
Yeah.
Where do you write?
I write for Sunday Vision. So I have a column in Sunday Vision called Stiletto Point.
Okay.
I have written that for 3 years now.
Okay.
I began writing it, I think, in my third year of university. That's when I began writing it. Okay. Yeah.
So you're a graduate?
Of Makerere University, yes.
What did you graduate in?
Mass communication.
Mass communication.
Yeah.
So how come you have a degree in mass communication and now you're into fitness?
Your life is not stagnant. Your life continues moving.
So this is why a passion meets profession.
Yeah, and I will never stop writing. I will not stop writing for the paper. I will not stop writing my fiction, because I also write fiction, I write stories. Okay. You can find most of our stuff on Apenyo.com, on my website. Okay. Yeah. Otherwise, I believe that you can study one thing and have one profession, but you can be so many other things. Yeah. Yeah. Right now in this world, you can't be just one thing. Okay. You don't have to be just one thing. You can be one thing if you want. Okay. Yeah.
The last thing I would like us to talk about is this generation. The generation that is born after 1986, that is what version 86 is all about. Since 1986, we've seen a new lease of life in all aspects, politically, economically, and socially. What's your take about this generation? They say, we always hear our parents say, children of these days, these young people of these days, they always complain about this generation. What do you think is wrong with this generation?
I feel like
is right with this
I'm
generation?
pretty sure even us, give us 20 to 30 years, not 20, maybe 30. Believe me, in our 50s, we're going to be looking at our children, or even grandchildren, children I guess, and we're going to be like, what are these people doing? What are these mentalities we don't understand? So with every generation comes a change in mindset, right? Now, for example, my father sometimes he still panics about the kind of thing that I'm doing. Because it's like, why don't you get a real job? Those jobs where you work 9 to 5. Because I own my own business, so sometimes I'll work till 3 a.m. It's my passion. Other times I'll wake up at 10 a.m. and not start working till noon. I'll work, I don't know, for as long as I'd like to. And he sees my lifestyle and he's a little bit perplexed. He's like, what's happening here? But then, I believe it's just a difference in generation. Okay. What values were given to them are not the values that we have due to globalization, due to the world being so small now.
Who's responsible for the change of mindset and the values we hold of late in this generation?
I believe largely exposure to different ways of thinking. There's a little bit more freedom in this generation to explore, to learn, right? And then also the kinds of things, the priorities of the older generation are different from ours. Yeah. So that if I had been born maybe 50 years ago, by my age I would be expected to have children, I would be expected to be married, but that's not my priority. My priority is to create a particular kind of change.
Thank you for being part of this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and you can send your views on 6044. Just type version 86, leave a space and send your comments. Like our Facebook page and Twitter, and of course you can catch all these episodes on YouTube. See you next time. I remain yours truly, Mugume Canary.